Oh, that's my cue. Welcome to another edition of Vegas Badboyz of podcasting. How you guys doing? DJ Impact here. I got a couple of bad boys here. Let's see, I got Matt Michaels. How you doing, Matt? How you doing? And Sin City Steve. I see you here. How you doing?
Good.
Oh, good. All right, man. Man, it's good to see you guys. We wasn't here last week because, of course, we had the Labor Day weekend and just took a little time off. And Simon Street will be back with us, we think, next week. And then a good old Matt Michaels will be on a business trip himself. So many things is happening in the month as everything's opening back up. So things that we couldn't do last year is finally beginning to be planned out for this year. So you're giving me that look, Matt Michaels, like you're confused.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, but hey, man, all that much. Go for it. You're good.
No doubt, man. We're gonna get right into it though, and we got a bunch of wrestling talk. Now, of course, we wasn't able to get through all the excitement that took place during All Out, and we're not gonna break all the matches down. We just really want to highlight really the two biggest parts of the night, and that's the return of CM Punk and also how the show ended with Bryan Danielson and that Adam Cole guy. So let's get right into it. Sin City, I'm gonna probably say you rated the show overall an A. You can tell me if I'm wrong with that, but was you quite impressed just overall with not only just the show, but just the return of how well CM Punk went right into things, and let's just start from that point to CM Punk, your take.
So bottom line, yes, I did rate the show extremely highly, and I'm kicking myself. I had an opportunity to, I had a few friends that went to the event that made the trip to Chicago.
Okay.
To be honest, I wish that I would have.
Sure.
Just looking at how good the show was. There were a couple of missteps, obviously, but those definitely are being overshadowed by, CM Punk's in-ring return after 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as you had mentioned, the appearances of Adam Cole, the subsequent heel turn, and the appearance by Bryan Danielson. So yeah, it just pretty surreal. Of course, the rumors had been floating around. Anymore, it's one of those things that, if you hear that somebody's contract has expired with WWE, then you just are basically counting down the days until you see them show up on an AEW broadcast at this point.
That's what it sounds like.
For better or for worse. That's just the way that it is. But yeah, I thought CM Punk actually looked pretty crisp in ring, given the fact that he was out for 7 years.
Right.
I much better than I thought. Wasn't
off.
It wasn't off the charts like crazy good, but it worked. It did what it needed to accomplish.
I'm just curious, and anytime, Matt, you want to jump in this, man, it's an open discussion. Just jump right in. Let me ask you though, by the way, I enjoyed the show too. So I don't want to even come off and pretend like the show sucked or like, oh man, AEW did a horrible. No, it was pretty good.
You mean like you normally do every week when we talk about Dynamite?
Stop it.
I'm just saying.
But I will say this. So you had CM Punk that was constantly, I think when he made his return that night on Rampage, he had mentioned working with some of the younger guys and the idea of putting these guys over. But let me ask you, do you think that night it looked more like, and this, I know this sounds weird, but it seemed in many ways like Darby put over CM Punk. The only reason why I say that is because a lot of times during the match, I kept hearing the commentators reference how long it's been since CM Punk has been in the ring and just how good he's looking. And it was almost like they were trying to sell the idea that CM Punk never lost it. And Darby, in many ways, because of course him being good and youthful and everything, was, showing that, of course he could hang with CM Punk. Did it really seem more like it was a match that made it seem like it was more of showing that CM Punk still have it versus CM Punk was putting over Darby? Am I kind of wrong on that, or what you think?
So I think that it can be spun in a couple of different ways. I think that, yes, they did tout CM Punk and they did put him over because let's be real, his foray into MMA was definitely not a bright spot for him.
Right.
He, it's one of those things where you take a guy who made a great impact and an everlasting impact in professional wrestling, still holding the 25-year or whatever, the modern era record for consecutive days as WWE champion at 434. So yes, he accomplished a lot before he left pro wrestling. But then it's not just wrestling fans, it's everybody. It's a what have you done for me lately kind of an attitude. And what people see is they see Phil Brooks, a guy that's been away from the ring for 7 years and has lost every MMA fight that he's competed in. So, I think that they had to, I don't want to say do damage control, but I think that they had to, build him back up a bit to people that maybe didn't have a chance to see him wrestle. Because again, keep in mind, he's been gone for 7 years. There are those people that are watching AEW that didn't watch Punk wrestle live as it happened.
Bullshit. The only people watching AEW are people who are fucking 25 to 37 or 42 or 56. Come on, dude. All those AEW marks out there fucking seen them wrestle. The new kids don't watch that shit. The new kids have better things to do in their lives. Like, I don't know, Pokemon Go. Is that still a thing?
Key phrase, is that still a thing? The fact that you had to throw that in there. I think that of course Darby got, Darby will forever go down in the record books as being CM Punk's first opponent in AEW. I thought that it didn't diminish anything whatsoever with Darby having him in the match and having him, lose. Let's be real, it was a pretty solid match on both, that showcased both guys. But realistically, if you thought that CM Punk was going to, or that Tony Khan was going to have CM Punk lose this match, then your delusion is extremely high.
Right. Let's face it, though. You said Tony Khan. Let's be real. If you think CM Punk was going to let himself lose this match,
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I was just drawing a parallel to, mentioning Khan as the booker, but realistically, they're not going to bring someone back after 7 years away and have them lose their very first match back. So it is what it is. I thought that, I had no real complaints with this match. I did love the sit-up spot for the coffin drop. That just has to be mentioned. Why someone else hasn't done that by now, I don't know, but it came off looking extremely well. So,
yeah. Well, we have that. And of course, again, towards the end of the pay-per-view, everyone was quite ready for Brian to show up, but not too many people was ready for Adam Cole. How shocked were you when for either one of you to see Adam Cole? Because we had heard that there were talks with him and Vince McMahon, and everyone, according to what they said, the meeting went well. And so Adam Cole seemed like he was in a good position. I don't know if he was planning on moving up to the main
have you
brands,
heard,
or he will.
Have you heard about the rumored trajectory of Adam Cole's career?
As
far as the story that got leaked out there. Now, whether or not there's any truth to this whatsoever is remains to be seen. But
sure,
I will say this: no one has come out to refute it.
Okay.
So he was actually going to be paired up on the main roster, not as it. So when I say Adam Cole to the main roster, DJ Impact. Where it, hypothetically speaking, what would you place Adam Cole at doing? What would you have Adam Cole do on the main roster? Before I even throw this out there, what would you have him do?
Oh man, I mean,
just throw something out there. Would he be at the top of the card? The middle? Would you have him, getting out there early to get the fans fired up?
Yeah, I would almost say all of that. I mean,
okay.
he's one of the main, stars from NXT. And I know maybe there's not a lot of people who watch NXT a lot of people who watch the main brands probably don't necessarily watch NXT, not to the same level. So he may not have known by everyone, but to wrestling fans, he would have been known. I would have seen him by any one of those levels coming in and being at the top.
Would you have had him maybe compete for the Universal or the WWE Championship or the US title or the IC?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, none of those were even on the docket for Adam Cole. He was actually going to be paired up with Keith Lee. Now, here's the thing. Even if they were in a tag team, okay. But no, he was going to manage Keith Lee.
Manage? Okay. I don't get that.
He was not going to be a full-time in-ring competitor. He was going to be a manager. And the direct comparison that was drawn was Leo Rush for Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, so Meltzer can go fuck himself. Because unless that shit is literally coming from a credible source, come on. Let's face it, you have to think a couple things. One, we don't know the contract terms. And let's be honest. You've got to believe that for someone in Adam Cole's position at this point, you take the money. So unless WWE was giving him a stupid amount of money where he couldn't pass it up, he was going to go. I think that if that story has any bit of credibility, that shit was done on purpose because Vince, that when he allows people, when he wants people like Nash and Hall and Bret Hart and all these guys back in the day, what did he do? He basically told them, go where the money is. And if he had no intention of signing Cole, but wanted to drive his price up, then you take meetings and you're basically telling Cole, we're not going to hire you. Here's something really fucking stupid for you to do. And this way you can go back to AEW and drive up your price.
Right. So you think that is something that could have happened, or you believe that's what happened? Okay, interesting.
It could have. Who knows what really happened? This is all speculation.
Completely. Rumors and innuendo, if you will.
I mean, we can is just as much.
That would make Vince a very nice guy.
But see, Vince is a businessman, right? This is the thing that people don't give him enough credit for, is that he's a business guy. If he has something that has value that he's not going to use, sure, he can play something off like that. But who fucking knows? We can easily sit here and say, hey, a source told me that actually Adam Cole was going to come out as an adult grown Hornswoggle. And they were going to explain that Hornswoggle was a kid at that time, and now he's an adult man. but that's what my sources told me, and I'm, I have really reliable people.
Okay. So when you talk about journalism, the idea of that is reporting the information, but not really taking a side of towards that story. That would be kind of a good definition of journalism, would you say?
Objective journalism, yes.
Yeah, okay. So does Meltzer somehow qualify as being a journalist in some way for the wrestling community? Because we don't have like a lot of people we can go to for so-called journalism. Would he be the one that we could say he is a journalist?
He's the most widely adopted name, yes, without question.
He is not a journalist by any means.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I
mean,
on top of that, the question
he's put out a newsletter for years. So I mean,
yeah, you know what though? So do fan clubs going back. Fuck, I was part of the Alf fan club, and Alf was not writing that letter. So, I mean, you can make shit up. Listen, if your main source of your bullshit for years was Terry Taylor, come on, man.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. So that's Adam Cole. And then, of course, we had Bryan Danielson show up. That was known and I guess pretty exciting to see. And I guess no shocks there. I mean, that whole ending was just, I guess, great, right, Steve?
I was extremely happy. And honestly, the Cole thing I don't want to say shock me that it happened right there, but the way that everything played out, I think that they played it as best as they possibly could, even with the feeder line of, people already being dead, so that it ties in with the whole story from BTE where Adam Cole's character was savagely murdered.
Right. So, yeah. By the way, if you happen, go ahead, man.
Matt. Finish up.
No, I'm just going to say, if you happen to be online, definitely jump on and let us hear your comments. Chris is always with us, man, and we appreciate you. Thank you, man, for hanging out with us all the time. He just put a comment on there and said, if you are listening to this podcast and under the age of 30, Michael's just really aged himself with the Alf reference. I used to watch that show. It's funny. So it definitely is aging yourself, man. But go ahead, Matt. I'm going to let you go ahead, and we're going to jump right into Dynamite and Rampage for this week, now that we've got that through. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to say a few names here. Sean Spears, okay. Chris Jericho, mm-hmm. Jon Moxley, mm-hmm. Cody Rhodes, Pac. Mm-hmm. Still going here. Brian Cage. I guess we could throw Brian Cage in there a little bit. Mm-hmm. Lance Archer. Mm-hmm. And Miro. Mm-hmm. I'll throw Ethan Page in there for the sake of this, and CM Punk.
Okay.
Sammy Guevara, MJF, Scorpio Sky, and there's one other name here. Jimmy Havoc. Okay. So those four names, those are all people that Darby Allin lost to, who were not necessarily on another, on Impact or on WWE, mm-hmm. per se. All those other names, those are all people he lost to who were on a major company, right? Darby Allin is the guy you're building up. And the guys who tend to be beating him are all guys who came in from other companies. That's, to me, not a good sign. All right? I'm just saying, you can argue it out anyway, but let's follow that up with this. This was on the Jericho podcast back in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It goes like this from Mr. TK Khan. We're spending a ton of money on talent. We're building a great roster, a big and diverse roster of talent. How many black guys on the show, DJ?
I know of one, maybe 1.5. There's a light skin. Oh, well, no, we have to talk. Hold on. Wait. With women, there's more women, so we got to add. Okay, so probably about 5.5. Yeah, it's definitely under 10.
But it's a big and diverse roster of talent that they were building in 2019. I think what's important is that everybody brings something different, but additive. The key thing is that we're not going to sign up every single talented person out there. You can't. And it was one of the problems with WCW. It was that there were too many people under contract. A lot of them were super talented and super great. If you were going to cut down their contracts, you'd be making some really tough decisions because there were a lot of great people under contract in WCW, but just don't need that many people under contract. For us, we need to be discerning and make this a substantial business. To me, I want to learn from mistakes that people made in the past. Let's sign up every valuable talent we can that we have a plan for, but let's not sign up too many people. We can't push everybody we like. Let's not be guilty of the same thing we mock other people for. Let's not live in a glass house. Let's really try and focus on the people we sign and make sure we're giving them a good chance. Sunny kiss. And just sign people up for the sake of having them, because when you get into that, that's when you really damage the business and also hurt those guys' ability to grow. 2.0. That's all I got to say about that shit right there. So Tony Khan's a lying fucking sack. There you go. That's my opinion.
Oh boy.
It'd be one thing if you're signing up guys like Punk and Daniel Bryan. Great. That gives.
I think what it came down to is that. So right now, at this point in the game, because AEW is really, I guess, showing themselves to be a legitimate top number 2 company in this game.
Don't ever insinuate anything like that, because you'll have a contrarian voice that'll pipe up and say otherwise.
But I'm saying that this
there's just a t-shirt company.
Wait, they're the only other company with this kind of money to put into it. So yeah, they're a number 2 company because they have a television deal that allows them to bring in people, and they have a bankroll that can bring in people. But that jackass said when he made this company that it was going to be something different. You all are watching WWE talent on a different show. That's it. You did it for WCW. They crashed and burned within 3 years after that.
Well, that comment was put up on our social media, and a lot of people had a lot of responses to that. So, Matt, I guess you're still going to hold on to that same idea, but they came hard at you. But what I was just going to say too, at the same time, when you're building a company and you don't have access to, I guess, the top people, at that point, you're just trying to see who's available, maybe from that other company, who may have a name that could kind of help get where you at. Because if you were to lay all those names out now, if Tony Khan was to do everything different, I would say the bottom half he would never even sign. But if FTR now is available, okay, I'll take that. He probably wouldn't sign him today. But building the company, sure.
Wait. See, now, but you're wrong on that. Because FTR and Sean Spears, those are guys that the fans were so upset about how they were being used in the WWE. These guys are not getting their shot. They're looking really good in AEW. Come on.
All right, let's go. Sin City, man. I'll let you hit Matt on the head with some thoughts a little later. But Dynamite, Rampage. What was your take on this past week's show?
So really quick, I just have to point out one thing.
Sure, go ahead, man.
Whatever the surprises or debuts or anything like that occurred on the All Out pay-per-view, whatever those things were, they worked. The All Out pay-per-view drew over 200,000 pay-per-view buys, which is a new record for AEW and is nearly double the previous high scoring pay-per-view, if you will. Revolution 2021 had 125,000 buys. So as of right now, the traditional cable outlets, they don't report fully for several weeks. So we won't have the full number, but for them to get double their pay-per-view purchases for this show definitely says something. So it's definitely generating money for the company.
Hey, you know what? Good point on that. Let me mention this right quick also, because I don't want to, of course, we have three star entrants that that made their appearance that night. But on the women's, we forgot. Let me please put that in there. There was the Joker card that came up, and Ruby Soho was who came from that one. That one, I'm pretty good shock there. What was your take when you saw? Did you have any ideas, Cincinnati, that Ruby was going to possibly even be the Joker? Did it come out? Did I miss the?
Does a bear shit in the fucking woods impact?
Oh damn! So
I mean, so here's the thing, bro. Is they always have somebody that they're debuting in the Casino Battle Royale as the Joker's card every time. So, I mean, you can just put the pieces together and they fit.
Well, it just didn't seem like
there was other stuff out there too, DJ.
Well, I was going to also say it didn't seem like the crowd was, how like when they're anticipating CM Punk, they're doing CM Punk chants, or Daniel, you get the yes. It wasn't nothing like Ruby. It was nothing. It was almost like a shock when she came out. Am I wrong?
They were chanting Ruby Soho for the last minute or so before the Joker card was announced.
I guess that's what happens when you're not watching the digital version. All right.
Yeah. You clearly weren't watching with audio.
Oops. All right.
Evidently that feed that you got only had the video and no audio.
Steve, you thought I was getting old with the ALF reference? This man was reading the results in the newspaper that
Oh God. All right, whatever. Well, shout out to Ruby. She made her entrance as well. It was great to see her also. Definitely. All right, man. Dynamite and Rampage. What's the highlights that's worth mentioning? Yeah.
So in the opener, we had Malachi Black defeating Dustin Rhodes in 10 minutes. It is what it is. Malachi Black is just defeating every single person in the Nightmare family. And obviously it's all going to lead to the Arthur Ashe Stadium show, which as of right now, I believe they've said that it's going to have 18,000 that they have sold 18,000 tickets. So there will be more people at that show than what we're at All Out, which is very interesting. But yeah, of course, Malachi Black will end up facing Cody Rhodes at Arthur Ashe. And you just know that Cody's got to get his win back, right?
Yeah, I will tell you this though. I'm pretty impressed. I guess I hadn't that new entrance for him is pretty awesome. I gotta give props to that.
Without a doubt, man.
That.
And
yeah,
the thing that I think really stands out about it is there's no pyro. There's just simply turning on the light and turning it off.
Right.
And,
yeah.
And it works completely. So yeah, I know that there are some people that love having the pyro and having all that kind of stuff. Obviously, that kind of stuff wouldn't work for a character like Malachi Black, but yeah, just doing lighting cues and the things that they're doing. I mean, spot on. Absolutely perfect entrance for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he bloodied Dustin up with some. I think Dustin took a shot from the exposed turnbuckle and didn't get the full kick, the full brunt of the Black Mass kick. But yeah, they still showed Dustin bleeding from his mouth after the match. I'll tell you, man, there's someone else that really should be segueing into a different role within the company as Dustin Rhodes. I think that, he's a great hand without question, and he can still go in the ring, but I don't want there to be a major fall off with him. Mm-hmm. And, he's implemented new things into his repertoire. And I really, one of these times, man, I'm just worried that he's going to do something that's just going to completely mess him up. So. Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, nonetheless, it's all heading for Arthur Ashe, where I think Cody's going to pick up the win. From there, we had the CM Punk promo in ring with he ended up getting into a bit of a verbal spat with Taz. So we're going to be getting that CM Punk Ricky Starks match, as well as that CM Punk Will Hobbs match that Punk has name dropped twice. So yeah, sign me up for that. I think it'll be cool. Of course,
it will give.
Of course, it's going to be CM Punk going over both of those guys. So, and I was gonna use that bullet before you even could, Michaels. But yeah, so realistically, these guys are going to get, a rub just by being in the ring with CM Punk. Now, obviously, if he's going to beat these guys in 30 seconds or, whatever it is, then they're not going to look good. It's not going to be beneficial for these guys. But if they go 10, 12 minutes with Punk and, he picks up the win after, just a last second flurry or, comeback, that kind of thing, then fine. I'm okay with it. But yeah, I don't want to see him like basically job, have Hobbs or Starks job to him, and have it be just a showcase match.
So Punk's first championship is going to be the FTW belt.
Come on, man. The FTW belt isn't recognized anywhere. It's just like the $1 million belt in NXT. Otherwise, yes, he would take that title.
Oh man.
Nonetheless, speaking of Will Hobbs, he did have a very, very solid match with Dante Martin. I thought that it was without a doubt a clash of styles. I can't say styles clash because that's, might confuse people, but nonetheless, I thought that both of those guys looked really, really solid in that match. Hobbs picking up the win, obviously, because he's going to need momentum so that he can go in and lose to Punk. But that's pretty much where we are. Right. Elsewhere, we had the Shivani Elite promo, and I'm originally from the Cincinnati area, so anytime that any heels give shit to the city of Cincinnati, I'm all here for it. And I love it. Not to mention fucking Carl Anderson is in the middle of the ring, who is also from Cincinnati. And he's just kind of giving the same shit out. Obviously you had Adam Cole come out and cut his promo, started off with the story time and basically told Tony Schiavone that he better watch where he's stepping when it comes to his girlfriend, Britt Baker. So right. I think we're going to end up seeing Schiavone taking a super kick sometime soon from Adam Cole, I think. After that, of course, you have Bryan Danielson come out and he comes out to that new remix theme that he's got that's eerily familiar to WWE fans. Rumor has it, again, that TK did try to get the Final Countdown by Europe, which was Danielson's theme on the Indies. But of all things for me to say this about, the Final Countdown was too expensive for Tony Khan. Who would have fucking thought it?
Yeah.
But yeah, nonetheless, you've got Danielson getting in the ring, essentially saying that he's going to be going right after our champion, Mr. Omega, if you will. But I don't think that that's going to happen right away. He subsequently cut a promo on Rampage where he kind of casts some doubt out there, saying that if Omega is going to duck him, that he'll go after someone else. So I think that that's actually the route that they're going to end up going. So we'll see. I genuinely hope that they don't just shotgun him to the very top of the show and book him for a world championship match next week or something crazy. Because yeah, AEW unfortunately has a past history of doing that kind of shit, and it does not serve anyone well.
Yeah.
As much as I would love to say that the main event of Dynamite was amazing, it was not. We had Jon Moxley versus Minoru Suzuki in a match that I really wanted to see, as did a lot of people. However, they only let the guys go 9 minutes. And of that, there was a commercial break in the middle of the damn match. So realistically, you had 5 minutes of Suzuki and Moxley.
That's because Suzuki had to go use the restroom because his old man bladder couldn't help him through the match. We need a TV timeout.
Not only did that happen, but they also cut off fucking Suzuki's theme song. So obviously, a lot of people were pissed off about the Kaze ni Nare not happening. So that was the biggest complaint that I've seen from an AEW audience after the show, was that they did not let his entrance theme play so that everybody could sing Kaze ni Nare as Minoru Suzuki got into the ring. Nonetheless, yeah, these guys went 9 minutes.
It's
Moxley
always
picks up the
interesting.
win.
AEW fans, for whatever reason, love to sing. I feel like
Fuck
when
yeah,
I go
we
to that
do.
show, I'm going to have to go into a karaoke event. What the fuck? I don't want to sit back and sing a bunch of songs. I didn't even, you know what? When I started seeing the whole Jericho song, I like the track, knowing before he came out to it. And then when the fans started singing it, first two things happened. First, I started to slowly start disliking the track. But then B, I started almost knowing word from word because hearing them sing it every week. And I don't want to sing the song. I don't want.
Let me take this opportunity to tell you you're welcome. We started that on the boat. On the cruise was the first time that the crowd started singing the song. And then from there, they turned it into an act. So,
well, if you guys want to go to a karaoke show, definitely go to AEW. You get to sing all the songs, okay? Moxley's song, you can sing his. All right.
Now I have to ask. So, obviously, dipping off topic for just a moment, Drew McIntyre has said that he's possibly that they're talking about bringing back his old school Broken Dreams song. But if the fans don't sing along, then he'll be kind of upset about it. How do you feel about that, Mr. Impact, sir? Will you sing a classic Drew McIntyre theme song, but not sing Judas by Fozzy?
I would not sing that song. Okay. I don't sing even as a fan of WWE and all the songs that they have. I don't go around, I hear voices in my head, they talk to me. You don't see that. But you'll see my head moving, going, yeah, I like this song. But you're not gonna see me singing in karaoke mode. And you don't see fans there singing all that song either. If you would have cut off Randy's song, it would be quiet and dead. You cut off Jericho's, it's an entire audience, a choir who's singing the song. And
AKA
it's
fans that are possibly more invested because they have more of an attachment.
For more of an attachment, for God's sake. Suzuki. Suzuki fans have more attachment. Oh yeah, all 8 of you who really fucking were hyped up on this 90-year-old fucking Japanese wrestler who went in there and looked like absolute dog shit. Yeah, we didn't get to sing a song. Big deal. I would like to take this moment to say the views expressed by Matt Michaels do not reflect anyone else on this panel, because Minoru Suzuki, even if he is 84 years old, will fucking kill any one of us with the snap of his fingers. So
I believe that.
I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Matt Michaels, there you go.
But on the same token, Drew McIntyre had another theme, because I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about, because I don't remember shit from that. So I don't know, man.
The things we learn on this show, I tell you.
You know what though? Honestly though, DJ Impact's favorite song to sing along to was Austin's theme.
All I know is that we need to get our producer to cut Impact singing the voices in my head out and use that as a drop for whenever you drop that podcast, and just have that as the open to the show.
Oh, we don't need
just have you singing it in the falsetto. That has to happen.
Not even cut. I think we need the producer needs to get DJ Impact into the booth and record him singing the whole song.
I like it.
Listen, first off, I would have to print out the lyrics, because I'm not going to memorize the song. Okay.
No
like some of these other fans who do that. Boy, I would just feel so out of place. And it's so funny because sometimes the cameras do show people who really don't know the song, but they're just moving their lips. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy. Okay. So don't force me to have to pretend to sing the song to be a part of the group. Okay. Oh, well, whatever.
Oh, well.
How about that? Anything on Rampage, man? So we could jump over into some fun stuff.
So honestly, it was an extremely quick hour of TV without question. Andrade and Pac, they had a pretty solid match. They went over 17 minutes. And Andrade picks up the win after the distraction. And Chavo, speaking which, Chavo. Dude, I did pop for Taz actually busting out the Chavo just randomly at the very end of everything. So obviously after the match, Andrade was not happy that he won via distraction. So he beat the shit out of Chavo. Lucha Bros gave him a double super kick, threw him into the ring. He took a brutalizer, cue all the refs to come out and attempt to take Pac off of him, whatever. And while Chavo's laying there in the brutalizer, Taz, is plain as day, he just says, "Oh, Chavo." And I'm like, what the fuck? So nonetheless, awesome. Elsewhere, Ruby Soho, Chris Statlander, and Riho picked up the win over Dr. Britt Baker, Rebel, and Jamie Hayter in an interesting six-woman tag match. I think that I don't know if things were rushed, but literally the pinfall came at exactly 10 minutes. So something tells me that they had their time cut from something else. But the thing that was the main event of the show was Brian Pillman Jr. versus Max Castor. Brian Pillman Jr. picking up the win in his hometown of Cincinnati, Ohio, and came out rocking the Flying Brian gear as well. So the gear with an homage to his dad, which was really cool to see. And after the match, you had Anthony Bowens and Max Castor try to get the heat back on Flying Brian, if you will. And who comes out but Jon Moxley? And so Mox comes out, nonsensical pairing, I guess. but two Cincinnati guys. I guess that was the narrative behind it all. And let's be real, you got to get Moxley on the show in some way, shape, or form. On Rampage as well. So there was that. They celebrate as the show goes to black. So there's that.
Okay. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Matt Michaels, I'm going to go ahead, man.
Just really, really quick.
Yeah.
Early on, you mentioned about Dustin bleeding, and AEW again, a lot of blood, week after week. June 2019, during the post-Fighter Fest Q&A, Tony Khan was asked if fans should expect cursing, thumbtacks, middle fingers, and blood on TNT. He had a very quick answer for that question. No, definitely not, because this was not TV. This was a streaming show. It was effectively a pay-per-view in a lot of the world. In the US, it was presented free, but this was a pay-per-view. And so you can expect different rules for pay-per-view. And we said going in that these were non-sanctioned hardcore matches. And I think that expectation going in, and we wouldn't have advertised that kind of violence, We wouldn't have offered it on TNT 100%. No. Lying sack of shit.
You never know. Maybe TNT is asking for some blood here and there. Obviously, they don't want the fucking pizza cutter shit. But who's to say that they are? No.
We will not put this on TNT ever, because you can't expect it like that and then need the pizza cutter shit. You're right. I forgot about that already.
Oh, man. Well, Matt, thank you for bringing all your evidence to court and showing that TK is guilty on a lot of things that you're bringing back to him. So he'll have his moment to explain. So go ahead.
Just wait for next week when I have to bring in exhibits A through Z on why Vince McMahon is doing what he's doing. So
okay.
All right. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass.
Bring it.
Now you're talking my language.
I know. Now I'm talking in a language you understand.
All right, man. I'm gonna let you go, Matt Michaels, into Raw and SmackDown. If there's anything in Raw worth talking about, I'm gonna let you go ahead and start it off, man. But I got some words for SmackDown. So go ahead, man. Kick it off for us.
When it comes down to it, I think that Raw's, you know what? It's not their first show. Let's face it. Okay. And I think that if people would come to terms with that, I think life would be much easier. It's 3 hours, but at the same time, it's 3 hours of rest, right? Mm-hmm. So It could be worse, right? It could be filling in time with, more Crisley episodes. For God's sake, how does that fucking family get anything? Holy shit, the kids get a spin-off on top of that. Hey, let's take the kids to LA. But Jesus.
Right.
I think that when you think of some of the stuff that is being well done, I think you got to look at Charlotte Flair being a heel. She's just so good. Mm-hmm. And I think that elevates, even if you're like questioning if the Alexa Bliss thing makes sense or if that will work or whatever, you have to admit Alexa's so over. Charlotte is so hated right now. It kind of works. And there's so much talent that's being, shifted around. We're now finally seeing what looks like Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax finally breaking up, hopefully.
Let me ask you this, Matt. Do you think there's ever a chance that we will get to see kind of the real Shayna? And I'm not saying that I'm upset with what she's done, because she's played the role that she was given. But man, I would love to see the badass Shayna as in NXT. Do you ever think we will get to see that, or it's just not for them to let her to do that?
The honest answer is, depending exactly what they do with NXT, my feeling is take her back to NXT. Essentially do what they did with Joe. Make that reestablishment there.
Okay.
And I think because of the fact that she's in her, like, right around her early 40s, it would be a good way to have her be one of the people to kind of season some of the younger girls.
Yeah.
Women. So I to me, that would be the easiest solve. Because
Sure.
now the other thing happening is the draft. Draft's apparently, allegedly happening in October.
Yeah.
So that's one way to do it, is to get her far away from the Nia Jax story and shit like that. It would be wonderful. I mean, it would be great, but the problem you have with a dominant person nowadays is that aspect of believability is only as valuable as long as you don't show the vulnerability of them not being a badass, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now what you would essentially have to do, that's why NXT would make sense, because here you basically would have to go and say, yeah, she was just going through a phase in her life where, she was tagging and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
You already took away that invincibility. Ironically enough, one of the people who survived that type of thing was Asuka. Asuka got that same treatment, essentially, where you took an invincible champion, you brought her up, and Charlotte Flair whips her ass at 2 WrestleManias. Now you look at the way she climbed back, and she reinvented herself wonderfully to, and hopefully, knock on wood, I hope that she's getting some recouping. It looked like she had an injury legit for her arm. So when she comes back, there's, hey, that's another idea. Put Shayna and Asuka together as a tag team. That'd be fucking awesome.
I'm down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the interesting thing. There's a lot of stuff that, you're going to see that you're not going to appreciate because of what you saw in NXT. And now we're going to see how that ground is going to be changed. But otherwise on Raw, man, the hardest thing about Raw is that it happens at the beginning of the week. And I think that everything that comes after Raw is more talkable, talk worthy than what happens at the beginning of the week. Like, who's Bobby Lashley supposed to be feuding
with Orton?
Is it Orton now?
Yeah,
because then you got the tag team belts in the mix, and and stuff going on. The tag team, whatever they called it,
tag team
gauntlet. Yeah, I mean, that, what, it wasn't bad, except for the fact that you saw kind of where the blueprint was going. But it was interesting enough that they did something they've never done, and that is have that first, what was about 40 minutes or so, and then stop it, and then bring it back up near the end for the last, 30 minutes or so. That was interesting because it gave the guys kind of time to just kind of catch their breath, relax. And I think that second half was, again, as good as it can get with what they're trying to convey. MVP, I don't know. Do we really need to see him wrestle anymore? He's doing fine as a manager. So, and that brings this point. Why not have MVP bring Keith Lee into the Hurt Business? If you're looking for a manager for him, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bring him into the Hurt Business. And eventually then Keith Lee and Bobby can have friction, and then MVP can screw Bobby Lashley because Keith Lee is, his new thing. So yeah, there's things, but Raw is obviously not the biggest focus because SmackDown is fucking kicking ass, man. Unbelievable.
You know, Sin City said that he was upset that he was not able to go to All Out and you know, see it having the opportunity. And I'm gonna tell you, watching Friday Night SmackDown, I had my moment of fuck, I wanted to be there. I just wanted to be there because I wanted all that excitement. I wanted it all. I mean, the New York fans was just on point for everything. And doing the proper cheers for heels and faces, it made it just exciting to want to be there, man. Yeah. And just to think, it was only 3 matches in that entire night, but still, it was just a show that was like this. This is just awesome. I just enjoyed every minute of that, man.
You got to think about this, which is very we've really become accustomed to kind of disliking that opening 20-minute promo segments, right? That's something that Bischoff created on WCW. Vince picked up on it, and it's been something that's been around for now 25 years. And it really can suck. It really can suck. But boy, that first 25 minutes with first the promo that Roman and the family there cut. Oh my God. Then to have Brock come in to what could be one of the biggest pops ever at Madison Square Garden, which is saying a lot. And then the brilliance of entangling Paul Heyman into this web of storyline. Yeah. I mean, and
listen, it got to the point where the fans, like, they got so involved that Fox literally just like, okay, you know what? Just cut the volume off for the 30 seconds. I was almost thinking I was going to start missing some of the dialogue because I'm like, stop it. Don't. That's the part I hate about them being on Fox. But but it was just that great because once Brock asked Paul, hey, why you didn't tell Roman I was there? The fans was like, you done fucked up. Yep. And it was great. And then Fox messed it up with this 30 seconds of just silence. And I'm just like, oh my God. But
the brilliance of it, though, is that even though they did it, the camera shot, there was one camera shot where you could clearly see a couple of the fans that are going.
Right.
And so it's like, it was just even funnier because it's like, yeah, we're muting it, but we're clearly showing that they're saying it. All right.
Right.
One of the best things, too, that I thought was so good was the fact that it really seemed like Paul was going to take the F5. It was like, and Brock just timed perfectly for that turn and for the spear. Paul didn't take a huge bump, but Paul rarely takes bumps. And it really just played so well in terms of, if you want to talk about storytelling, that's great. Then we get an amazing moment of Sami Zayn pushing around the fucking crowd. Oh my God. And when Trey started, when he came out,
dude, that was brilliant.
That's the difference of knowing what to do with celebrities, because as much as people want to give shit for it being, sports entertainment and that mentality of Hollywood and whatnot, the times they bring in now celebrities, it isn't like it was when they were doing the Raw general manager bullshit, when they're just
right.
Bring in Bob Barker because he's promoting this and so is promoting that. Now you're getting guys who seem to be invested and fans of wrestling, or at least know enough to play that role right. And I mean, okay, Shaq's a big dude, right? If any other basketball players, Shaq is just a huge guy. He fits into wrestling. But I think Trey just showed that, oh shit, maybe there is opportunity for more, basketball players getting involved now. And you now start to see the direction and what they're seeing in the WWE. It's about finding this connection between popular athletes and your product.
Yeah.
And I think that we're starting to see the puzzle pieces coming together on why it's expendable to let so many guys go. They're filling it with a different thing now. Hey man, Pat McAfee is a great example, right? Who would have ever thought that a guy like that would have such a passion for wrestling that he could fit himself right into it? And boy, as good as Corey Graves is, Pat McAfee coming back to commentary, wow. Just a breath of fresh air. So
probably my favorite commentator in all of WWE, bottom line.
I would dare to say at this point, he's probably the best color commentator, at least in all of wrestling right now.
Yeah.
And because he does it very simple, he doesn't, I just don't see Vince McMahon on the headset like, Pat, you got to say this. Pat, you got to say that. Pat, you got to say this.
Right.
I just feel like Pat McAfee is just like, that thing's falling out of his ear.
Yeah. Stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
I mean, he mentioned like vodka and whiskey on the broadcast this past week. I'm like, what the fuck? That clearly wasn't fed to him. But yeah, I ultimately, I think the thing with McAfee is that he is a fan first, and that comes across in not just his commentary, but in his delivery and his overall demeanor. So nothing is being faked with him whatsoever. And that is why I think so many people are taking to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed that, especially during the match with Edge and Seth, because there was that part he really started talking about Edge's injury. And I'm like, you have to be like a fan to reference that and understand just, the importance of that time of when that happened, and to see what's happening now. It's the way it was said was from an aspect you could tell from a fan, not from someone who, let me read some info and just remember to say Edge was injured 7 years ago. You could tell it was just true passion in the commentary there. I agree with you when it comes to that. He's definitely enjoyable. And I think Cole is now finally beginning to, because it's totally different from Cole. Cole, when it first started, Cole couldn't like figure it out,
All of a sudden, Michael Cole is actually tolerable as an announcer.
Right. Right.
Yep. I never thought I'd ever say those words, man.
Yeah.
So it brings depth because of, like you said, like you just look at the Edge and Seth match. I think one of the things that we've fallen into is the trap of when matches are repeated. One of the things we're very used to is having the same type of commentary associated with it.
Right.
And because McAfee wasn't on the call, now he was, it's a little something different. And even if they ran that match again, Pat McAfee, like you said, his genuineness then adds another level so that it's not the same points that are being driven home every single time when two guys, have their rematches.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, Seth Rollins, after Edge got put in the fucking ambulance, God, I love him.
That was excellent. That was
so well done.
He plays sociopath, unreal, so good. And this is, I think, too, when you look and you go, the WWE, they use the same top guys and blah blah blah. Well, my argument is, if you have a guy like that and you have a span of, let's say, 7 years where their career is going to be at their peak, then I say use them in the top 3-4 storylines for that time, because once they get past that time, then they're going to start breaking down and things are not going to be the same. And, you know, and even Edge took 10 years off before, and now he looks like a whole different package. Sorry about that, Jade. I do apologize. Even Edge props. And then speaking of packages, holy shit, Becky Lynch coming out in that coat and the sunglasses.
Oh my God.
That's great.
I was like, that looked like that looked like a user, you know, somebody that is just high as, you know, and just looking for some. You got something, man, I'll take whatever you got. You know, that's how she looked coming down with that red. I'm like, man, I'm sure she took that from Seth's wardrobe.
They have to have probably the most insane closet at home full of shit.
They do. Yes.
Let's be honest. And they're two grown people, and I'm sure they have amazing stuff as we've seen. But boy, I want to see that baby's wardrobe, because that kid is going to be like fucking dressed in some of the coolest shit you'll ever see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that promo was fire too, man. I mean, yeah.
Especially we're in a day and age where what we continue to see is that the invoking of the rematch clause, which again I think was, you know, somewhere in the Monday Night Wars this whole shit started. What the fuck? What's a rematch clause? Who cares about it? It's so stupid. It really is just a lazy man's way to put the same match on again. The idea of just having Becky just continue to taunt Bianca with this whole, nah, that's simple. It's so fucking simple. It's just like, nah.
Yeah. What if I don't sign it? I mean,
right.
I mean, what if I just don't?
It's like, you know, it's finally a wrestler realizing, well, if I don't sign the contract,
right?
Exactly.
How can you? And that's something that's never been cleared in wrestling, right?
Right. Yeah.
Someone, like, they can announce matches right then and there, but at the same time, if the champ doesn't want to sign a contract, then they don't have to wrestle this person, even if they have a rematch clause. It's like, okay, now we're fucking starting to get smart with how stupid things are at times. So it's like,
sure.
And overall, with SmackDown, from what I understand, it was the highest gate in the history of SmackDown. It basically made the most money any SmackDown has done in their whole 20 some odd year existence. So,
wow.
Yeah. So
they could have took my money for sure.
The only downside, and if you listen to 3 Count later on tomorrow, if you're listening to it on the audio, is the fact that Zelina Vega, who had a father who did die on September 11th, she was ready. They had a match planned out, and because of time, she got cut. But on top of that, Kevin Owens also did get cut. He was supposed to have a segment too. So overall, yeah, it's a bad look, but at the same time, was there anything on that show that you could really point to and go, this is what could have been removed? And that's hard to say. All you could probably say is maybe cutting minutes in that in the 8-man tag would probably be my guess. But when you're producing great shit, it's really hard then to, you know, start having to make cuts when if the machine is rolling and going. If you make a wrong move, then by stopping it and putting, you know, something that you had planned in, and that causes some kind of decline of the momentum. You know, I think as hard as it is to, you know, you feel heart-wise the right way and knowing that she didn't get the shot to do it on that day. But at the same time, you go, it can be understandable why, if you really watched that show. Honestly, the one thing about Fox that is a downfall on that end is they can't do an overflow. So,
right.
I mean, realistically, if they had 15 more minutes, they could have gone over, then you probably could have gotten that in. So, yeah, man, it's out of all this stuff, we do have to, the one point we have to make, and we could argue all you want that this is something that is good. You want arguments, you want opinions, but the one factor is that overall, every person who loves wrestling is now, for fuck's sake, there is a fucking scripted series on Stars about wrestling. You had Glow on fucking Netflix for 3 seasons. You have the Young Rock. You have other shit that is in the pipe. This is unreal.
Yeah.
This is bigger than it's ever been, in the sense that everyone's finally realized how to take everything and make it work in the monetization. And Dave Bautista, The Rock, and Cena are 3 of the biggest fucking stars in Hollywood. Who would ever have seen that?
That's true.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, thank you much for that, Matt Michaels. We don't have Simon Street here for our NXT, so we'll just kind of just mention some of the highlights on that. The only thing I would tell you guys from that was, of course, the tag team titles. MSK went against Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, and you know what, I won't lie. I after hearing that there was a possibility, and by the way, I feel that this NXT and last week's NXT, they're really just was trying to get to what we're about to experience this Wednesday. You could tell the way it was written. Okay. But nevertheless, after hearing the rumors of Vince still end up going to make some cuts in NXT and possibly bigger names, no MSK don't have a big name, but I was wondering if they were going to possibly be in that list. And I was like, if they lose these titles, I really thought that was going to be a wrap. And I don't want to see that, because I'm fans of these guys. I followed them in, of course, in Impact, and I was happy to see what they were doing here in NXT. And they won, they retained, and they put on an awesome match. So hopefully that means they're going to be around for a minute. But it was an excellent match, and that's my take on that. But of course, Sin City, what happened after that was pretty shocking, you think?
Oh yeah, man. The thing is, I said that they were posturing Ridge Holland to be somebody to compete for the NXT championship. Obviously that was before the everything came out about how the roster was going to be changing, how the product was going to be overhauled, all that kind of thing. So I think that putting Ridge Holland into a tag team with Pete Dunne, I think that actually will benefit both guys for sure. And
Steve, Steve,
what's up?
Let me ask you along those lines, which I think that if the long play is what I think it's about to be, Pete Dunne will win the title, and then Ridge is going to turn face, and there's how you
bingo. Yep. You and I are on the exact same page. So I see this them essentially having Lorcan and Burch to kind of catapult them. They are a proven tag team, a former NXT tag team championship duo. So I think that when you have Dunn and Holland demolish them, I think that it's going to make a statement. And then Pete Dunne has made his target clear that he wants that NXT championship. So Michaels, you are right, spot on. I could see Dunne walking away with the championship. I'm curious as to how they're going to do this, if they're going to put, do it via tournament style, or, what's going to happen.
Well, let's really quick. This just broke today. So Let's give a little listen here.
Hello, I'm NXT champion Samoa Joe. Upon my recent return, my goals were very simple. I sought to ensure the respect and integrity due to both NXT and its championship. I sought to ensure that everybody understood that the needs of one individual will never outstrip the sum of the brand. Today, I find myself having to stand on those principles. Recently, WWE Medical has informed me that due to certain injuries, they would like to have me step away from the ring for a brief, yet still indeterminate amount of time. I realize that this week we are on the cusp of a new NXT. We are on the brink of a new era in our history. And I realize that that era deserves a fighting champion. And that's why it makes this very difficult decision very easy to make. Effective immediately, I relinquish the NXT championship. Best of luck to those who will vie for it. My sincerest condolences to whoever wins, because I will be along shortly to recollect what's mine.
Wow. I was, and that broke today, which we record this on Sunday, although you may be listening to this on Monday or another day. But I was shocked to hear this. And I tell you, it's just tough because I've always been a Samoa Joe fan for just a long time, man. I've just always enjoyed his work. And quite frankly, I'm not going to even lie. You know, this is probably the one that Matt Michaels, you would just slap me on the top of the head and be like, get out of here. But I really wished, at some point that, maybe he could have been the one to, get put on to SmackDown and be the one that would eventually take Roman down as being that other Samoan guy because he won't allow him to be at the table. I've thought of things like that. Like, that would just be awesome. I would just love to see that type of thing happen. But I know where kind of Samoa Joe kind of fit on that, on that list with everything. And so I wish him the best of luck. I know he's going to be good. He's going to come back. He's always tougher in it than ever. But this was just really tough because he's just been having – he has good luck, and it seemed like he gets bad luck, and he's back for good luck, and it's like bad luck, and just things keep going back and forth with. And I just want everything to be good for him because he's so great at what he does. And Samoa, we can't wait for you to definitely come back and get what's definitely yours.
One of my favorite things, and if you watch this on the video or if you've seen the video, one of my favorite things about it is that it looks like he cut the video in his bedroom where he grew up, because it looks like there's like space type of curtain on it.
Yep.
Yeah. But that goes to show, like, man, if you can just throw the belt over your shoulder, sit in front of a camera, and just deliver it to camera in that type of tone and that type of cadence, it doesn't matter what the fuck was behind you because it was brilliant.
Yeah.
So, but this also leads me to something that I found very interesting when everyone kind of jumped on this NXT thing with that new logo as, oh, geez. And then, Vince and Bruce are going to be running it, blah, blah, blah. But if you saw the promo this episode, there were the flashes within the logo of like the action. And I think simply all we're seeing are Miami colors, right? Style, feel of the city of Miami. I got a feeling that this isn't going to nearly be as horrible as everyone thinks it's going to be. In fact, this actually might be that step up. The whole idea was, hey, you guys couldn't hang with AEW. You guys moved nights, etc., right? Could this be the response now? And tying into what you were saying, Steve, with Pete Dunne, and how will they do it? Will there be a tournament? Well, now that we know the belt is vacated, Now they have some real meat to start the fucking new company with, right? So this might be even more intense than we, are expecting it to be. The wrestling might be even better. However, I hope one thing they don't lose is cranking out the unbelievably wonderful, funny segments like we saw with the fucking bachelorette and bachelor party.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Sign me up for half an hour sitcom, man. I could watch, just Loomis and Gargano as the odd couple living in a house with Indy and Candace, the two married couples, and Candace is having a baby during all this too. Like, there's so much there.
Yeah.
But damn, that was, like when Johnny's like, who's paying for this whole thing? And Grimes all of a sudden just, this bachelor party was going to the moon. It was just like, oh my God.
And then obviously you have Loomis basically killing all of the opposing players in the laser tag match.
And then the final bringing the hands together. Like, oh my God. I mean, even down to Candace and Indy spying with the binoculars. And then Johnny saying something. He said, were you spying again? No,
again, keyword.
Yeah.
And of course, Loomis knows his way around an axe. So, you've got Gargano who can't throw an axe and have it land on the board. Yet you have Loomis just walk over and adjust his arm, and magically he's got this perfect form.
And also in that weird, like, that kind of like that creepy sexual, how like, teaching a girl how to, teaching a girl how to swing a golf club, right? He's kind of behind him. He just kind of gently,
right.
And then when you see him do it, and Johnny's face goes like it just was like, oh my God. I don't know, and I should ask Katz, who produced that, but whoever was in charge of putting that whole fucking, because that was a lot of work. The editing was spectacular, and even that bachelorette party, what a she doesn't have any friends.
Right.
So it's the most random assortment of NXT girls that you can put together. Like, oh, that's fucking great.
Yeah.
So that stuff was great.
I think that something that we're I don't want to say overlooking, but that we haven't talked about yet is how obviously the wedding is next week, and they've been building to something that we've not discussed on the show. How is Dexter Loomis going to say I do when he can't speak?
Well, he smiles, and I didn't know he could do that.
It doesn't mean anything.
I know.
Is he actually going to say his first two words on NXT programming as I do?
And on top of that, are we going to get a Silent Bob type character where for the most part he will never talk, but when he does open up his mouth, he has this ridiculously smart thing that is this unbelievable monologue,
right?
And then he shuts up again. So that's a great point. Will it be the I do? Will he just simply write it out?
I hope they don't go that route. I mean, honestly, that's the easiest thing for them to do.
Right. And what will we see too? Because there has also been the hints of the notoriously bad wrestling weddings. So, and by the way, I have to say, this week was the first time I really stopped to appreciate the wedding invitation drawing, because boy, can Dexter Loomis fucking draw shit. That was, I mean, wow, man.
He's an artist, man.
Yeah,
legit.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Up and down. Good stuff. Good show.
Well, good stuff, man. That was NXT for that. I'm gonna just quickly go over Impact. Won't be long, folks. Really, it was a good show this week. They're building up for Victory Road, their pay-per-view. Well, I'm sorry, their Impact Plus show that will be on this Saturday, 18th. And the show was pretty good. As Tasha Steelz and her sidekick Savannah, they actually stole the Knockout Tag Team belts that belonged to Decay's Rosemary and Havoc, which they're going to be setting up for their event for this Saturday. It's going to be real good. I like them holding the belts, but I don't think they're going to hold on to that after this weekend, man. And shout out to Havoc, man. It's she's done a good job just really teaming them and being a part of Decay. David Finlay versus Chris Bay. Again, got a chance to see that. It's a match that you just got to see, guys. It's just these guys they just be on one, and it's great to see it. Eventually, Chris was about to do the same thing he did before and how he wins, and that was by cheating, putting his legs up to the rope to get the 3 count. But Juice Robinson, of course, popped up and saw he was going to do that, went ahead and removed his feet to give David Finlay the correct win as it should be. So Chris Bay took that loss. But as he was just kind of hanging on the ropes, and David Finlay and Juice looking to maybe possibly attack him, who comes out? Hikuleo, the 7-foot-tall guy. And, he pretty much just whooped on both of them, David and Juice, and put them in a tag team match coming up for this Saturday Victory Road. So another good match you're going to get able to see. And Bullet Club, man, I'm really liking it. I mentioned it during our last event here that I'm really liking Chris Bay. And I'm trying to decide, do I buy the shirt now or just wait for when they come to Vegas? Because, yes, they're going to be in Vegas October 23rd, I believe, for Bound of Glory. And, I don't know. I don't want to risk losing my size. So I probably should just go ahead and get it now.
Hey, Bay, DJ Impact wants one of your shirts. So if you can make that happen, let's... Look, you got to wait for him to come into town. What the hell, dude?
Babe, I'll Venmo you. Give me the info. All right. So and pretty the last. Okay, so of course the championship match for Victory Mode is going to be between Ace Austin and Christian Cage. But before that, they do have one more match where now it's going to be a 10-on-10 match. So Ace Austin and Madman Fulton had to find 3 people who they can have on their team, and Christian Cage had to go and find 4 people who will want to team with him. So it was very easy for Ace Austin and Madman Fulton because they went to Brian Myers, and they're like, sure, I hate Christian. Brian Myers, everybody know Brian Myers. Matt Michaels, come on.
Oh, the baloney dude.
Oh, God. All right. And then you also had Moose and W. Morrissey on that team. So pretty stacked team when you think about it. But Christian Cage, he went and grabbed Josh Alexander, Chris Sabin, Eddie Edwards, and Sami Callihan. Now, that's his team. But what's so funny about him picking all those is that Josh Alexander and Chris Sabin has a match for the X Division title coming up also on Victory Road. So you have them two. And, of course, Eddie Edwards hates Sami Callihan, So so Christian put a bunch of people on his team, which we all know what's going to happen in this particular match, just to make sure that Christian's going to hold on to that belt for when Victory Road. So overall, it was a good show, and still got one more week though before. Oh no, actually, I'm sorry, it's this weekend, and it should be good.
But
Swinger,
DJ,
yeah, man,
you missed the bit. Was Christian reached out to Edge, but Edge then got put in an ambulance, so he can't do it. Crazy.
Yeah. That was. I think they showed that after the show went off. So good call there, man. I hope they do something. If you want to just entertain me, if you just want to get my my laughter going, Swingers Palace has been something that they've been using now for 6 months, 7 months. And I mean, he's got his own shirt. It says Swinger Palace. It is actually in the same font as Caesar's Palace. And everyone knows that it's an illegal gambling location spot. somehow you've got to put Swinger Palace into when they come to Vegas. I don't know how.
Oh yeah.
Throw that illegal junction over there by the food stand at Sam's Town or wherever it's gonna be. Do something, but you gotta have it because I love Swingers Palace. It's just funny that they run that whole thing and yeah, we'll see where it goes. They have to play it up though. They can't not play that up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Impact.
Yeah.
What did you just say that you loved? What was the name of that thing again?
The Swingers Palace.
Oh, so can you just say that full sentence again? That you love Swingers Palace?
Listen, okay. We're talking about not the Swingers Palace that you're thinking of. All right.
Hey, form your own opinions. Just saying.
Man, you know what? I'm about to add that shirt also to the list. So see, I'm gonna have a shopping cart of just wrestling tees I gotta get. So anyway, something to look forward to. Victory Road this weekend. So ROH, man. Good show, fantastic. I got a chance to catch up and see what was going on. They had the World Tag Team Championship match, LFI versus Violence Unlimited, and man, Dragon Lee, Kenny King, these guys are the real deal, and they are your World Tag Team Ring of Honor champions. They took the belt. It was great to see them. The match went about a good 20 minutes. Yeah, I mean, you would never think seeing Dragon that they would make a good team, but they make an excellent team, and they was all over Violence Unlimited. So that was a good match. Pure rules match between Will Ferreira and Josh Woods. Will, I guess, is from the dojo side of things. Josh Woods just killed him. But nevertheless, it was really to set up everything with the pure championship match that's going to be going on. I guess Death Before Dishonor. That's happening this weekend, right? This weekend? I think so. Let me double check. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I think it's really, I want to say it is this weekend. But Death Before Dishonor and Jonathan Grisham, who is your pure champion now, will be going up against Josh Woods. And he's beat Josh Woods before, but Jonathan is 12-0 in his matches, and he's pretty dominant. So we'll see where it comes out of that. Last, there was the Briscoes versus Rey Juarez and Bandito. And of course, Bandito is your Ring of Honor World Champion. So this was the first time they actually had a match together. So I didn't know which way this was going to go, but I love watching the Briscoes, man. They are just, you can't find two more country guys than this. I mean, it's country, just straight country. The stuff they say in the ring, the sound they come out of their mouth, everything they do in that ring is just, you're like, man, these guys, and they've been doing this forever. This match, it ended up being a beatdown. The Briscoes did win the match, which I thought was shocking because I thought being that Bandito was the Ring of Honor World Champion, they probably would have gave him and Rey Juarez the win over that, but they didn't. They gave it to the Briscoes. So other than that, that was the only thing that they showed for that show. Now I'm trying to see if I can get the date here.
Oh boy.
Oh,
look at this. It was the Swingers Palace. Yeah, look at that run down. Yeah, it was in Alabama. Yeah, Birmingham, Alabama. It was built by strip club tycoon Billy Hall in 1972, but fell into disrepair after he was arrested for income tax evasion. But that brings up a very interesting question, because strip club barons, Swingers Palace, betting, Vegas, Baron, Happy Corbin's going to show up and win all of Swingers' money.
Oh
The
my
forbidden
God.
door is officially open, people.
Apparently it is. Only you could come up with all of that. That's hilarious. So I just checked here, and it says on Wikipedia that actually the Death by Dishonor was tonight.
Ooh.
So yeah, we'll have to get more information on that. Yeah, so that's what it says. So we'll see what happens and find out how all those matches went there. To get ready to end, man, let's talk a little bit about New Japan there. Sin City Steve. Wow, it seems like there is about to be the G1 Climax show that's about to go on. Tell us a little bit about it, what you're excited to see, and
yeah, man. So the competitors have been announced for this year's round of the G1 Climax tournament, which, if you're not familiar with it, is a pretty hardcore round robin tournament. And when I say hardcore, I don't necessarily mean like pizza cutters and, broken glass and that type of shit. What I actually mean is that you've got this tournament is actually going to take place over 19 shows, which is pretty interesting to say the least. You've got some really solid names in here. I mean, obviously, Shingo Takagi, your IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, your one half of your heavyweight tag team champions, Zack Sabre Jr. You've got the never open weight 6-man tag champ, Tomohiro Ishii. And then rounding out the rest of the A block, you've got Kota Ibushi, Tetsuya Naito, Toru Yano, Yujiro Takahashi, Kenta, Tangaloa, and the Great Okan.
Yes.
So interesting stuff out of that field. We'll see who comes out of the A block. And essentially the way that everything works is the person that finishes the highest in points from the A block goes against the person that finishes with the highest score from the B block. And the winner of that match gets a championship opportunity, if you will, at the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. So in the B block, you've got IWGP US Heavyweight Champion Hiroshi Tanahashi. You've got the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champion Taichi. Now, I find it interesting that they put Zack Sabre Jr. in one block and Taichi in the other block, so as they didn't have to wrestle each other. Smart booking. And then you've got Yoshihashi, Hiroki Goto, Kazuchika Okada, Sonata, Jeff Cobb, Evil, Tama Tonga, and Chase Owens. Now, just looking at this, it really wouldn't surprise me if traditionally the G1 can be used to build stars. And I think that this year could be another one of those years where they're going to build somebody. I could actually see Jeff Cobb coming out of that B block and at least getting to the finals. Now, whether he wins against the competitor from the A block, who knows? But I don't.
I mean, it'd be nice if they give him the. It'd be nice to give him the rub, man, because I mean he's been putting in a lot of work for them, and
he's been killing it.
Yeah, he has been. So I'm hoping you're right on that, and we'll see where that goes. At least get him to the top, like you say, even if he doesn't win, just put him in that position. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Cool, man. Well, we'll see what happens. Again, it is 19 shows, so we're gonna have to try to keep up and with all of that and see where all of that comes out. So good stuff on that. I guess there's really nothing too much local based, and if so, a lot of times you hear that during the DeFalco Files on Wednesday. But just to make sure, Matt, is there anything you want to cover local here, wrestling, Vegas?
The one thing that, a couple things really quick. That the pay-per-view did take place tonight, and congratulations to friend of the show, Roxy, who won the ROH Women's World Championship.
Okay. Yep.
And
awesome.
Yeah. So, and there's a bunch of other stuff that went down on the show tonight. So definitely take a look, into seeing that. Looks like some good stuff happening there.
Yeah.
And then, tomorrow, or if you're listening to this on Monday today, but the 13th, 14th, and 15th, the Colorado Alley Club is here in Vegas. There is actually wrestling going on right now at the Gold Coast for that. And tomorrow night, Monday night, I believe show starts at 7. I believe it's either 6 or 7. That's going to include Fresco Matic taking on Cody, Cutthroat Cody. And you can catch Fresco this coming Wednesday on the DeFalco Files. But if you come to Cauliflower Alley, if you're in town, you come into the CAC, I will be there selling a wonderful little book, Lance by Chance, the story of Lance Von Erich, wrestling as a Von Erich. And I guess coming down 1995 for the book, and if you want a signed copy signed by Lance, that's $24.95. So come on down and drop by, say hi, hang out, and it's always a fun time there. And the big recipients this year will be I know Medusa is getting an honor. So is Rey Mysterio, and so is Rob Van Dam. So, I'm not sure if Mysterio is going to be there. I don't know who's all actually showing up and whatnot. But go to the website for Cauliflower Alley, and remember, it is a charity. They help wrestlers out who, are in circumstances where they can't afford medical procedures or, different financial hardships that hit the guys once, their wrestling days are done. This is a very, wise use of the experience for getting those guys some help. So.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, man. Hope you guys go check that out. That is going on right now and for the next couple of days. If you're in the Vegas area, check it out. Gold Coast, right? Yep, Gold Coast. Check it out, please. Come through and see what they're doing over there and be a part of something that is great. So thank you in advance for everything you guys do with that. Guys, thank you for listening. I know we went a little bit over, but so much wrestling has been taking place, and we were out for a week, but we are back. And we want you to definitely check out 3 Count. If you are watching us live, you get the chance to hear this tonight. But if you're listening to the podcast, this is going to be Tuesday's show. 3 awesome topics. I know that's going to really get you wanting to add your comments to. So please download that. And we thank you for hanging out with us. We will see you next